First of all, joy comes from the Lord. Okay. And the Lord would not condone this behavior.
Now it's time to get in. Tia Mowry's having a midlife crisis. Some people think she is doing the right thing. She's doing her thing, girl. Is that what she's doing, Kenya?
Do you boo? No.
Don't do you.
No.
She's tearing her family and her home apart.
For no reason.
For no reason. And we're gonna...
Wait, for no reason besides, I'm gonna be happy.
Right. There's no indication that man did. You know what? Let's get into it. Tia Mowry's having a midlife crisis because she just wants to be so happy and she's choosing herself. Does that sound familiar? Who just did that? Oh, Megan Good did that.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said she was choosing herself.
Yeah, even though Devon filed. But yeah, you're correct.
But she filed first and then they didn't file.
Okay.
And then she went back and filed. So, I mean, that was a whole situation. Okay. Anyway, we're going to get into this whole Tia Mowry thing. We got a couple clips lined up for you, and we're going to discuss it because I think this is not what you're supposed to do, and it's encouraging bad behavior.
Mowry and I, we're doing great. I talk to him every single day. We tell each other we love each other every single day. He is family and will always be family and a part of our lives forever.
You posted a video recently on Instagram saying this chapter of your life is called My Turn. So what are you hoping to discover about yourself in this new chapter?
Hold up. What do you mean?
This chapter in your life is called My Turn. You have kids.
Do you just want to go through a single season? Like, what happens when her single season is over and she's like, okay, I want to be married now. I'm ready to be married again.
That was my thing. It's like, so you drop the guy that you've been dating, I think since I think they were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
And now it's your turn to be happy. But what happens when you want another man? Like, do you just bounce around from man to man without a commitment? Because it's like, do you get remarried? Like, what's your plan other than, and what is her drive to be happy? What does happiness look like? Because happiness is
it's ever changing.
It's an emotion that's subjective to your situation, right? And so if she wasn't fulfilled, in life, shedding your marriage isn't necessarily going to help you unless you were in a bad situation, your husband's beating you
or constantly cheating on you.
Right. But there's no indication of, well, let's let the
what have you discovered about yourself so far?
Play out.
Well, I will answer this question with this quote, should I say. It was told to me, and I have to say, the support has been just overwhelming and just so amazing. So many women have been in my DMs, even women that I know. And one of them had said, I'll keep her name private. She is, a well-known face, but she said, it's amazing how, as women, it's easy for us to make a decision as a wife. It's easy for us to make a decision for our children, but it's very hard for us to make decisions for ourselves.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So she's basically saying that women nowadays basically have to do everything for everybody except themselves. And I think that's just false because, one, you decided to have kids, so you made that commitment. And so now you're saying all right, it's easy for me to sacrifice for my kids, but instead of, keeping to that commitment, I'm kind of tired of that. It's easy for me to sacrifice for my husband, but now I'm kind of tired of that. So I'll shed my husband, can't necessarily shed my kids, right? That would look just atrocious.
Yeah.
But I'll shed my husband and I'll just sacrifice for my own, carnal happiness, which is, this feeling of dopamine. And one of the things that she was on this TikTok craze over the last 3 years. I thought she was single. Well, I knew she wasn't single, but it's looked like she's been single for the last 3 years just based on her TikToks.
For me, it was her Instagram. For me, I was like,
right. Or well, yeah, that's what I meant. The Instagram. That's where I followed her.
Yeah, I was like, you look a little single here. And if you compare her Instagram to
her sister's.
Yeah, what's her sister's name? Tamara.
Tamara.
Yeah, Tamara's Instagram is just night and day.
Yeah, she was doing all the trends that the kids were doing. And it seemed like she was just chasing the likes and the clicks, and
that's where she was getting like validation from.
right, instead of getting the validation from, her marriage and the people around her. And so it's almost like their happiness is coming through, false means, things that aren't really going to sustain her, things that she has to keep coming back to, rather than building a strong family and being fulfilled in, what her family can do, how she raises her kids and sends them off. And another thing that she's doing, she's just splitting up the house.
Yeah.
Right. And we went through the statistics earlier. It's like, I mean, she's going to be fine, but what kind of precedent is this setting for, other girls, who aren't in the situation, who don't have the fame, who aren't going to have the opportunities to make the money that she makes, where she could just support her family. But what about the woman who's just making, average income and has a husband making an average income, and then she just sheds her husband because she wants to be happy?
Yeah.
It's like that's not going to work. Remember, marriage is about duty. And I think we've lost that to chase the dopamine. And that's in large part because we're social media crazed out. You know what I'm saying?
Addicted to social media.
Let's continue.
To answer your question, I'm just all about chasing the joy, and knowing that.
You need to be chasing the joy of the Lord.
First of all, joy comes from the Lord. Okay, and the Lord would not condone this behavior.
Yeah, which is very interesting because she did claim to be Christian. I'm not sure now because she does like all sorts of like
I don't know,
self-gratification, and she had like a thing with like crystals and the sage and everything. So it's almost like she's mixing. And going back to your point, her sister is much more straight and narrow in a sense.
Yeah.
At least how she presents herself to the world. And she just seems like super confused at this junction of her life. So
That I have, or I deserve happiness too. I feel like women, we tend to take care of everyone else, and we tend to forget about our own needs. But at the end of the
it's not about you anymore.
Yeah, but what are your needs, and what needs is she talking about? Because she has a good career. She had a strong family unit.
I have no idea, babe.
She doesn't have, it's all of her desires. It's basically what she wants. It's not her own needs, it's her own wants.
She wasn't content.
Exactly. But again, that goes back to she has everything she needs. She has more than most people in the entire world.
Yeah.
And not to mention the United States, which is the wealthiest nation in the world, but yet she's not satisfied.
And I think this is like a time where wise counsel is super important. And not just like wise anybody, but like Christian wisdom would be so crucial in this moment, but.
Or just having friends to step in and say like, hey.
Well, yeah, counsel doesn't necessarily mean it has to be, a counselor.
Yeah. Just somebody to talk some sense, because it seems like everybody just validated her decision.
Yeah.
Today, we deserve happiness just as much as our children do and everyone else in this world.
I have no comment.